Yesterday we were discussing about rodents, what are the species of rodents normally seen in storage, how to identify them, what are the behavioral characters or physiological characters of rodents, and then we initiated the management of rodent part, the rodent management part, wherein we discussed about the strategies to prevent the entry of rodents into a particular environment, especially a godown system. So that was what we discussed. We will continue with that discussion today. Just a minute. Hope the presentation is visible. So this is what we discussed yesterday with respect to the rodent proofing of the buildings to prevent the entry of rodents into the building. So see, these are the normal routes of entry of a rodent into a particular building. See, still, see these pictures. You can see the door is not closing properly, and you can see at the bottom of the door there is a huge gap which permits the entry of the rodent. Another thing, very common thing, is our piping and cabling. We will make holes on the walls for fixing any pipes, cables, electrical wires, etc. And these holes serve as an opening for entry of rodents, and sometimes they even burrow down the building. See the drainage channels many a times, wherein the drainage channels may not be fitted perfectly, so there will be a gap between the drainage holes and the pipe. All those things serve as the entry point of rodents. Even the drainage channels nowadays, the new kind of drainage fittings comes up with a rat trap. If you have observed a new drainage system, most of the drainage systems comes up with a rat trap, so the entry of rodents are prohibited. The earlier kinds it doesn't have it. So what should we do for preventing the entry of rodents through these points? The one thing that we can make is, I will show a few pictures of it. One thing is, you can close the windows and ventilators with wire mesh net, and the size of the mesh should be less than 6 mm, otherwise rodents can easily enter. Second, all the drainage channels should be fitted, drainage channels, sewage lines, you can see it over here, it should be closed with a wire mesh net. Otherwise, Norway rats and sewer rats can move through this drainage channel. And sometimes this is not the perfect picture. What I have seen, especially in North India, is that they will fix the bottom part, a minimum 20 centimeter part of the door with a metal sheet. So here, this area, there will fix a metal sheet each door. So what the benefit out of it is that since we have a metal sheet at the base of the door, the rodents cannot bore through this door. If it is a wooden piece, it can easily gnaw through this wooden door. While if we have a metal sheet on the door at the base, especially at the base, then we can prevent the entry of rodents. That's very common in North India. I haven't seen it in Kerala and all, but North India it is pretty common in households. So for drains and sewage lines, we should keep a tightly fitted perforated metal sheet covers so as to prevent the entry of rodents. Then the next thing is the water pipes, drainage pipes, electrical cables, and other conduits through which our cables, electrical lines, pipes, etc., comes into the building should be fitted with a guard or the space of entry, the opening of that particular cables or pipes, all should be sealed perfectly. There should not be any space left out to admit the entry of rodents. So we should seal the space around the cables, conduits, etc. And another thing we can do is we can install a guard. How to keep a guard? Installing a guard is pretty easy, it's not that a difficult one. So if you have a piping system, I will show you how usually a guard is usually established. You can see my video. You can see a conical kind. I just folded a paper and made it into a conical stripe, just like we have a birthday cap over like this. So it will be like this. We can keep a metal sheet or thick plastic sheet like this, and we can have the pipe through this. So what does happen is that if the rodents climb up through the pipes, once it reaches here, it has to climb back again through this cone and reach about. It doesn't happen. So that's the easiest way of keeping a guard in the pipes. Could you understand? The shape is a cone, just like a birthday cap. Then that cone will be fitted onto a pipe so that the rodents cannot climb up through the pipe. Is it clear? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. Fine. So that is with respect to rodent proofing of pipes, drainage channels, and the holes made to have the electrical wiring and kind of other cabling. Then checked all the burrows inside and outside the buildings, and all the burrows should be closed with concrete. All the burrows should be closed perfectly, otherwise these burrows will remain as an entry point for rodents. And in the case of openings on the sink, drainage channels, etc., it should be closed thoroughly. If the floor tiles are damaged, again it should be made perfect. So all the chances of entry through burrows from outside should be sealed properly. Then there can be cracks and joints in buildings, say maybe walls or anywhere. It can be any place. There can be cracks, walls. Sometimes it can be windows, doors, etc. All those cracks should be perfectly sealed with concrete or metal sheet. And windows and ventilators, I told you, all the windows and ventilators should be fitted with wire mesh 24 gauge metal sheet. And with the holes, it should be less than 6 mm, because if it is increased in size, smaller rodents such as mouse can enter it. And another thing is that the structures remain near that we have seen branches of trees and all which are overhanging onto the buildings. It should be removed. Otherwise, it acts as an entry point. And those doors should be perfectly fitted. If there is a slight gap while we close the door, that gap will serve as an entry point for the rodents. And at the base of the door, we can have fixed a galvanized iron sheet up to a height of 30 centimeter. So that will keep the door rodent proof. Another thing is that if we fix a door closer, the door may not remain open for a longer time. So what means, if once you door closer, you might be familiar. Once you open the door and leave it, it will close automatically. So that means it prevents, if we keep the door open unattended, the rodents will gain entry. So a door closer will prevent it. So this is another way of preventing the entry of rodents. So all these are fundamental things, very small things, but it will help in reducing rodent infestation. So this picture I have seen, I've shown you. Coming to the next management part, first part was making the structure rodent proof. Second is trapping. What are the different types of traps you have seen? Very common type of traps you have seen. I think everyone might have seen a rodent trap. Can anyone name a few rodent trap? Have you seen a rodent trap? Cage trap, adichil, yes. Snap trap, pot trap, yes. So this is trapping is one of the most old method. SCH, what is SCH, Ashish? Sherman trap. Sherman. There is no C. It is SH. C. Okay. All those kind of traps, which is there are different types of traps depending upon the region, depending upon the availability of raw materials. People prepare different kinds of traps, and these traps are widely used for rodent management from very long time onwards. It's used in the fields, it's used in the home, and it is an effective tool for two things. One, it is for rodent management, for killing the rodents. Second, it is an important tool for diagnostic purpose. That means if you want to study which is the rodent species present in a particular area, then trapping is the best one. If you keep a trap, catch a rodent, identify the rodent, then design the management strategy. I told you the bait shyness and all varies with species. So identify the species, then go about the management strategy. Then if you have more than one species in a particular area, you can have a population estimation and study the relative abundance of the species. How much one species is there, how much another species is there. All this is carried out by a method called as population census. I don't know whether you remember or not. In UG, you might have studied about estimation of insect population. There are absolute estimation, absolute estimates, relative estimates, etc. Do you remember? Yes. Absolute, I will tell one thing is an absolute estimate is just one typical example is count the number of insect in a plant. That is absolute estimate. If you say number of larvae, number of spodoptera larvae in a single plant, yes, that is absolute estimate. But for rodents, if you want to study about the number of rodents in a particular area, you can't count the number of rodents. You have to go for one trap to go for a population estimate. This population estimate will also serve us to identify the species, identify the composition of the species. What is this species is present in this much numbers, this species is present in this much numbers. Actually, we extrapolate. We can't count the entire number of rodents in a particular species. We'll randomly will keep the traps, and based on that, we will arrive at an estimate, population estimate. And as we already discussed, other than diagnosis of the rodent problem, the traps also help us to manage rodents. So, what are the different types of traps used? The traps can be classified into two. Based on the way they trap rodents, it is classified into two. One kind of classification is how the rodents are, whether it is caught live or caught dead. You might have seen in certain movies that certain villain or heroes usually tell, I need that person alive, or sometimes they will say that I need that person dead. So according to that, you can classify it into kill traps and live traps. Kill traps are those, as the name indicates, during the trapping process the rodents will get killed. But live traps, unlike it, we will catch live rodent and we will have to kill it later. So this is the basic classification, the two different types of traps, kill traps and light traps. This is most of the earlier traps which we used for mostly kill traps. Earlier traps were usually kill traps. Nowadays, more and more live traps are being used. And another kind of classification is the traps can be single catch type or multiple catch type. That means if a trap catches only one rodent at a time, it is single catch trap. If the traps can trap more than one rodent at a time, it is called as multiple catch trap. So single catch trapping, multiple catch trapping, it is so common. In kill trap types, most of the kill traps are single catch trap. That means it will trap only one rodent at a time, and during the trapping process, the rodent gets killed. But there is one kill trap which is multiple catch trap. That is glue trap. Have you ever seen a glue trap? Nowadays, it is pretty common. Most of the supermarkets and all have this glue trap. Has anyone seen it? Others has seen it. No one else. Okay, I'll try to show you. Okay, this is a kind of I will discuss about glue traps. Glue traps are the one which is usually used indoors because the common kill traps such as snap trap and all leads can have adverse undesirable outcomes. So, especially in offices, restaurants, and all, it is undesirable to use kill traps. So they usually prefer glue traps. That is the modern way of trapping. And these kill traps, at a single trapping process, it can trap more than one rodent. That is glue trap. That is a multiple catch type. Light traps can be single catch and multiple catch type. So these traps can be made of wood or metal usually, and several other. It can not only wood or metal. Alan has told about there is pot trap. It is not made of wood or metal. Actually, the base is wood, but the actual trapping mechanism is a mud pot. Then locally some bamboo traps and all are there. So all these locally available materials are there used for trapping rodents. So kill traps, there are several kinds of designs depending upon the locally available material. Tanju trap, bamboo trap, arrow trap, stone trap, Buddha trap, Mangambu trap. All those traps are designed based on their own. This Mangambu trap is designed because the rodents are a major problem in paddy fields where the water level is high. So that's why went for a Mangombo traps. Those who have seen Mangombo traps, it's they can easily identify it. So that is for those areas which have very high water level, water table. So similarly, according to the local requirement, the earlier people has designed their own traps. And the most common kill trap is the snap trap or break back trap. You might have seen, I will show the picture. This is the snap trap. Uh, I forgot the name of one very common snap trap now available in the black cat. Have you seen in Kerala there is a brand called as black cat? Have you seen this brand? Yes. Because we remember that brand specifically because this person is routinely writing to university to test his trap and to certify it. University always replies him that if you want to test your product, you have to pay some fees, and he is not at all willing to pay the fees. And this firm is one of the leading producer of snap traps in our state, in Kerala. I don't know about other states whether they are selling it in other states, but in Kerala it's there. So here there are very common. Have you ever seen a scissor kind of snap trap? where we have two things, it will be kept it like this. When we keep the bait, once the rodent comes, it will close it. A scissor kind of. That was the one which we had in our home. It is very tricky to fix that traps. You need a bit of skill to fix that particular kind of kill traps. Otherwise, there is a chance of you also getting injured during the process because this is held extremely tight. You can see the spring over here. This is held at extreme and tightness. So if you are not handling it carefully, there is a chance of you the person getting injured. So nowadays people doesn't go for it much. So there will be a base, there will be a spring kind of system, and will he have a mechanism where we can keep the bait, and that bait will be connected to a lever mechanism. So once the bait is there is some shake, the rodent comes and starts feeding on the bait. This lever mechanism gets triggered, and this it will kill the rodent. So that is what this is. Butta trap, bamboo trap. I think everyone might have seen at least one rodent trap. Then that is single catch trap. You can see you can trap only a single rodent at a time. You can't trap more than one. But glue traps, that is a multiple kill trap. I will show you. You can see my video. Uh, can you see this one? This is a cardboard sheet, and this cardboard sheet inside it we have it. Actually, this is a used from one from my home itself, from my quarters itself. You can see inside. You can see very thick glue over it. So we'll keep it like this in the way in the pathway usually frequented by rodents. So when a rodent moves over this glue trap, this is extremely thick, viscous glue. So the rodent will get trapped in this glue trap. So I have trapped all other living creatures except rodents in this glue trap. There was some rodent infestation in my quarters, so I kept a minimum of three glue traps. I caught several lizards, but no rodents. So they are more say intelligent than us. But that population got reduced. I think I kept along with some poison baits also. It consumed the poison baits, so that's why now that problem is not there in my quarters. So that is glue traps. So one thing is that it's not only see why it is called as a multiple catch trap, because if a rodent moves, once it is caught, there is a chance that another rodent can also come up and get caught in this glue. But in practical situation, it doesn't happen. Why? Once a rodent get caught in a glue trap, another rodent coming the same way sees it and move away from it. It can easily identify. These rodents are extremely intelligent creatures. So they don't come and fall into danger twice. If one of his fellow rodent is trapped, another one usually doesn't get. But chances are that we can get one or more trapped. Yes, sometimes we may get. You see, if one or two rodents move together, it may get caught. So it can also be considered as a multiple catch live trap. So multiple trap catch kill traps. It will kill it, but the killing is extremely slow. Uh, Very slowly only the rodent gets killed. It don't get quickly. So that is with respect to glue trap. This is usually a single catch, but can also be considered as a multiple catch type, made of cardboard folder shape that I've shown. It is folded, disposable, and this board is plastered with thick glue with very high viscosity. Mainly, as I told you, it is mainly used indoors, offices, restaurants, etc. Especially in IT companies and all, they usually prefer this kind of things. And it is very easy. So any person can use this, because setting a usual kill trap such as snap trap, setting up it is a bit tricky. you need to have a bit of skill, but anyone can use, even kids can use it. But one thing is that whenever you I had an experience in the night in my home, we kept a glue trap, and my brother's kid went into it, and she saw this trap, and suddenly she kept her palm on top of this glue. So, but nothing happens. It is you can easily remove it. You can apply some oil, kerosene or something. You can easily remove it. But that is one thing advantage. Even if something accidentally happens, nothing harm will occur. That's why it is considered as safe for using indoors. But what could have happened if it was a snap trap? Accidentally, the kid goes and touches the bait. It could have injured her, but it because of its safety now this type of glue traps is preferred indoors. And depending upon the size of the rodents, we have different sized glue traps. I think the size which I have shown you is 34.7 into 21.8 centimeter, and we have the smaller sized one, very small sized one, half the size of this one also. So depending upon the size of the rodents, we can have different types of different sized glue traps also. So that is with respect to glue traps. It can be easily operationalized, so that's why it is having more and more popularity now. So this is the glue trap, and you can see a picture of a glue trap containing six killed rodents. I haven't seen anywhere in a glue trap capturing six rodents at a time. A bit exaggerated picture. So this is one of the most common live trap. Till now we have discussed kill traps. That kill traps are we discussed about snap traps, different kind of kill traps. Then we discussed about glue trap. Among the live traps, it's one of the most common one is box type trap made of wooden or metal sheets or metal wires. So it is one of the most common one. You might have seen and you might have used it. Then one of the most scientific kind of live trap is Sherman trap. That was what Ashish was telling. It is one of the most scientific and highly effective. It is a single catch live trap. This Sherman trap is modified by Central Arid Zone Research Institute. Actually, the Central Arid Zone Research Institute, they have a center for rodent management. Dr. Misra, I think Dr. Misra is the person who is heading that. So, depending upon the size of the rodent, they have designed a Sherman for different sized rodents. They have very small Sherman trap. It is called as mouse Sherman. The size is very small. 10 used to capture mouse, mus musculus, etc. Then for normal sized rats, for ratus, ratus, etc., ratus norvegicus, etc., we can have a medium sized Sherman. For bandicoots, for rodents weighing about 1 kg, we can have bandicoot Sherman because it is larger in size. And what is the advantage of this kind of Sherman traps? The advantage of Sherman traps is that it can be easily folded and carried, transported in large number. I'll show a picture of it. You can see hinges over here. You can see hinges over here. All the four corners we have hinges. So once if you want to transport this, we can easily fold it. We can collapse these two parts, and it will fold it into thin sheets, and you can keep it in the field. So this is Sherman trap. Depending upon the size of the rodent we intend to catch, we can have three different sizes. Mouse Sherman for normal size rodents, another kind, and for large size one we can have Bandicoot Sherman. And for Bendigo Sherman, because of its huge size, they have a locking device to avoid the escape of it. Otherwise, it may escape with the trap itself. This trap is not that heavy; it's a bit lighter in weight, so that's why this can be easily transported. Even while we are using the traditional box trap, either made of metal wires or wooden sheets, we usually, if we are keeping a kind of box trap for trapping bandicoot, we usually tie it to a tree or something else. Otherwise, the rodents, bandicoots have the habit of dragging the traps away because it is very heavy. It has the enough power to drag a box type trap or Sherman trap. That's why we usually lock it to prevent the escape of bandicoots. So that's with respect to Sherman trap. Coming to the next one, that is Wonder Trap. This is a live trap, but it is multiple catch trap. That means it can trap the rodents live and it can catch more than one rodent at a time. Have you ever seen a Wonder Trap? Anyone? No. This is a picture I have taken from a train. I was traveling from Trivandrum to Thrissur after attending a meeting in Trivandrum. And in that coach, I have seen this. This is a Wonder Trap. This is in live. Otherwise, I've not seen Wonder Trap. So this is how how it looks like. See, here inside it, we will keep the food bait. So seeing the food, the rodent enters the trap. This is the entry. And once it reaches this platform is a collapsible one. So due to the weight of the rodent, this platform collapses, falls down, and the rodent will get trapped inside this wonder trap. So this is a lever mechanism like this. So what this if consider this as the platform. If the rodent enters at the trap, the platform collapses. The rodent traps inside the wonder trap, and once the rodent is inside it, the platform returns back to its original position. So this is why we can have trap more than one rodent at a time. That means the platform returns to its original position once the rodent is trapped inside. So another rodent may come, the same thing can happen. But like what I have said in the case of blue trap, once a rodent is trapped inside wonder trap, the other rodents are usually repelled. So theoretically, we can have more than one trap at a time in a wonder trap. Practically, it doesn't occur. Only one rodent gets usually trapped in a wonder trap. Have you seen anyone seen it? Wonder trap? I've shown it. I think Ashish and Ansel, I think Manisha might have shown it. So that is in the department, guys. That is wonder trap. Here you can see a picture of a wonder trap containing more than one rodent. So this is a multiple catch live trap available in different size and shape, made up of metal sheets or wires. So there is a platform which get collapsed because of the weight of the rodents, and the platform returns back to its original position. But as I already told, the trapped rodent may deter other rodents from entering into the trap for the next time. So because of that, we have to periodically remove the killed rodents. Otherwise, it will repel the rodents away from it. Then coming to the placement of the trap, it's not. Uh, you have to understand the behavior of the rodents and then only go for a trapping. So if you're going for placing a trap, you should thoroughly understand the behavior. Say if you're trying, I am trying to place a trap, whether I should be where I should be keeping the trap, in the middle of the room or on near the walls, where I should keep the trap, the middle of the room or near or on the side of the walls, near wall. Yes, because of the behavioral character called as stigmotaxis. So this is why it is critical to understand the behavior of rodents. So our trap should be placed where the rodents are commonly seen. It's not that rodents regularly come all through the house. Usually it confines itself to a particular area. If you see, mostly it confines to, if it is a home, it confines to kitchen and store. So you place the trap in kitchen or store where it is usually frequented. Place the, and if you observe, it will have a regular track for entering into that particular area. If you see it regularly, it will come from. So in my quarters, its entry was through the drainage channel. So if you want to place a trap, that trap should be placed near that drainage channel, and it should be kept along the walls. And the areas where the rodent activity, maximum rodent activity is there, it can be judged by the presence of fecal pellets, food consumed, any articles damaged, etc. So that is the way to identify the areas where rodents are commonly frequented. And sometimes we may have to camouflage the traps, but usually we doesn't go for camouflaging. We doesn't hide the traps. We will keep it as such. But sometimes camouflaging may help in better capture of rodents. So other than the use of traps, you have to be careful about how the traps are placed to enhance the success of trapping. So you should place the trap where animals are all regularly encountered, place near the runways or place the pathways of the rodents, preferably along the walls, and place it in the ways where rodents are mostly frequented. Identify it based on the characters such as fecal pellets, urine marks, any leftover food by gnawed articles or damaged articles, etc. And the success of trapping, it's not that I told I kept about three glue traps and none of the rodents got trapped. The success of trapping depends upon the number of traps we use. If you use more traps, there is a more chance of trapping the rodents. And next is population density of the rodents. If the number of rodents are more, then the chances of getting rodents trapped is also more. And the placement of trap, where you place the trap, if you place the traps in areas where rodents are more frequented, the chances of rodents getting trapped increases. And the next is availability of alternate food. You are keeping as a wonder trap and with some food material, and in your kitchen or in the store there is alternate food available, then it will not come into the trap. It will take food from the other sources available in the same location, and it will move away. So whenever you are keeping a trap, ensure that there is no alternate food available in that particular area. Usually, it is recommended that for a 100 square meter area, we need a minimum of four multiple catch traps. A minimum. But if we can increase the number of traps, that's better. So the trapping success depends on the number of traps we use. If we increase the number of traps, we can trap more. Depending upon the population density of the rodents, if we have more rodents, can get more rodents trapped. The trap should be placed in near the walls and ensure that there is no alternate food available. And another typical thing that literature says is that instead of going for more number of traps for a few days, it is better to keep few traps for more days. That is better for trapping. Instead of keeping a large number of traps for 1 or 2 days, keep less number of traps but for more days. That will help in increasing the trapping success. So that is with respect to trapping. One more thing is that important things we should keep in mind whenever we are going for trapping. Because if you are going for kill traps or light traps, there will be fecal matter, urine, everything will be there in the trap after each trapping event. So whenever you are going for trapping for the next time, you should clean the traps with soap water. Otherwise, it will it will deter the deter the rodents from during the second time. Because this sometimes if it is snap trap and all, blood will be there, urine, fecal pellets, everything will be there. Then that deters rodents from coming into the trap for the next time. So better to clean the traps before the next trapping event. Then the live traps, whatever rodents we got in the live trap should be killed by immersing in water for a few minutes, and it should be disposed of properly. All the rodents caught either in live trap or in kill trap, whatever it may be, it should be disposed of properly by burying deep in the soil, because rodents can harbor certain pathogens, human pathogens. Can you name one pretty notorious one? Actually, it's transmitted by another thing, an insect, but it harbors, yes, fleas. So we have to be careful about rodents. So whenever you have got a rodent in a live trap or kill trap, dispose it properly. Bury it deep into soil, or you can burn it. And before trapping, wash the trap properly. And if you are getting a rodent in a live trap, you can easily kill it by immersing it in water. So that's the way usually traps are used. So if we discuss about traps, it is classified into kill trap and live trap that you know. Then again, it can be classified as single catch and multiple catch traps. In kill traps, basically we have snap traps, etc. Different kinds of traps are available. Kill traps are available. Usually it is single catch type, but glue traps are the one which is can have more than one rodent at a time. Trapping can be done for more than one rodent at a time, so it is considered as a multiple catch trap too. Then regarding live traps, which we usually have wonder traps or box type traps. Wonder trap is a multiple catch type trap, whereas box traps are single catch type traps. We discussed about glue traps. Then what all the then we discussed about live traps. We discussed about Sherman traps. Then what are the things you should consider when you place the rodents, and what are the factors that affect the efficiency of this. So all those things which we discuss with respect to trapping. Then coming to the next kind of management, that is chemical control, one of the most, it is 850. Chemical control, I might not be able to finish it today. Okay, I will stop it over here, because if I start chemical control, I'll have to stop it in between. Chemical control will take time. Anything today, whatever we have discussed is pretty common. You might have seen at least these traps, how the traps are kept and all. Anything we need further?